I am Isaiah Saxon, and I wrote and directed The Legend of Ochi.
I'm Elena Zengel, and I played Yuri in The Legend of Ochi.
Oh, yes, I need those. I'm Emily Watson, and I play Dasha in that same film.
I'm Finn Wolfhard, and I play Petro in Legend of Ochi.
Well, first of all, what is the origin story of this film? It's so unique and such a different kind of story. So where did this begin for you?
I started working on it when I was 12 years old, when I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey in 70 millimeter at the Castro Theater in San Francisco with my dad, and I was utterly unprepared to see the apes, and I was so invested in their like wordless communication and their story that like when the cut from the bone to the spaceship happened, I was like really angry and was like, no, stick with the apes, I need the apes. And so that was percolating there the whole time. And then when it came time to write this, I was really thinking about just the connection between kids and animals and how pure that is, and how it's like an antidote to everything in our disgusting adult civilized world, and wanted to build a movie about that connection, and you know, one thing led to another.
Well, I mean, tone is everything in a film like this. How did you guys kind of navigate? I mean, it's fantastical, it's grounded in reality. What was your guys' experience kind of on set working together to kind of find the right vibe for this when you have Willem screaming in, you know, a medieval outfit and Ochi and then like a grocery store? So
Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, it was like Isaiah had a like very specific vision of the world, and it sort of, you know, for me it was like a very comfortable thing going into the filming of the film, because it was, I had seen a lot of concept art, and I talked with Isaiah just about the world and sort of a little bit of lore stuff, and it just, for whatever reason, it just kind of when you say it out loud, it's kind of insane, but like it just made total sense. I thought, I don't know about you guys, but
So, I sort of similarly arriving in Romania and just going into costume fittings and going, oh, I see, this is just, I'm going to be really out there and eccentric, and that's so liberating when you're just like, this is a unusual and weird way, just go and have fun, and but also just despite being a kids movie and you know, in a fantasy, proper grown-up messed up relationships, which is always a fun to play.
Yeah, I felt the same. And it was also like what Finn said, that is like Isaiah had this very clear vision of how he wants to do the movie. And I feel like that yellow jacket helped me a lot. You know, I was always like in that weird big puffy thing that was supposed to shrink me. He told me like yesterday. And then I feel like having this Ochi, which was like an actual thing, and not just something I would have to imagine, was great, because it helped me a lot to like create an actual bond to like the Ochi, I guess, and like get a new best friend.
well, what was that like? I mean, immediately, I think like 10 minutes into the film, I said, I need an Ochi. So what was
Oh
it
my
like
God, yes, we
working
all
with
do.
an Ochi on set day to day? You know, I imagine it helped the emotional part of your performance, but what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was very interesting, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna have like something to actually play with, and when it came, I was like, it was great to see how much lifelike it looked when the puppeteers would like move it around and stuff, and it would like move its eyes and its mouth, and I was like this looks real, you know, this is becoming like a real friend. So that helped me a lot, and but still, you know, it didn't really react to what I was doing and stuff, and so it was kind of like playing alone all day and like just going back and forth, you know, with Isaiah, and doing a lot of shots really, because it's like if I do something wrong, I can like adjust it, but I guess for the puppeteers, it's like 6 people working on one small thing. That's like a hard thing to do.
I mean, VFX can do such incredible work now. What was it a challenge to convince them to use puppets on this film? I feel like we see so few puppets nowadays.
No challenge. Everyone loved the idea of going practical. The challenge was just in making that happen and make it look convincing and real, and to deliver that kind of performance. And as Helena was saying, it's like, it's one thing to get 2 actors to sync up in a scene and really be responding to each other and present, and it's a whole nother thing to get a puppet with an animatronic face operated by 7 people simultaneously to create that performance and have that sync up with the best takes of a kid at the same time. It's like, it's the hardest thing you can imagine doing. And so, when we could do them together in a 2-shot and it worked, it was just like pure magic. But we did have to like, shoot singles, get Helena out. She had to do a lot of school, so we'd then spend like 6 hours just shooting the puppet, and like 50 takes on the puppets close up, because it's such a little finicky specific thing to get it to look real. So yeah.
I think it's testament though to the skill of the puppeteers and the John Nolan, who was the creator of the physical Ochi, because some of those puppeteers are every bit as good as actors as,
it's
as
incredible.
we are. They are, and their understanding of subtlety and nuance is just amazing.
Yeah, so we had a primate motion coach that came along with John Nolan Studios in London, who built all the animatronics and ape suits for the performers. And the primate motion coach, this guy Peter Elliott, he had been the guy who did Quest for Fire and Congo and Gorillas in the Mist and Greystoke. He was always the guy in the suit in all the ape movies that we all know. And he's there off camera, just right next to me anytime there's an ape in shot, and he's just becoming an ape. He's snarling, growling, snorting, becoming the kind of lead ape off camera. And so it was like that, combined with the mastery of these puppeteers led by this guy Rob Tigner. And he's like the quarterback, calling out to the whole team of puppeteers what each action's going to be. And so it's all kind of coming off of his call, and he's mouthing all the sounds, and then it all is like, this collective effort to make it look real.
A24 is known for its merch. Have there been merch discussions about some Ochis?
Of course.
Gonna be a hot item. Yeah. I know we all want one.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to imagine this film owes a debt to E.T., which is one of the all-time greats. I'm curious, do you guys remember the first time you saw E.T.? I mean, this feels like an E.T. for a new generation. But.
I love.
You
that
worked with
movie.
Stephen.
I did, yeah. No, but that sense of seeing the world of the creature from a child's point of view, and is exactly the spirit of so much of what this is. I love the way that you see the Ochi from the distance, and they're terrifying, and then you get closer and closer and closer, and suddenly there's this beautiful surprise when it's the sweetest thing.
The first time I saw E.T., I was 25 years old, and I had also just seen Paris, Texas. And those two movies to me feel like, for me, they're in conversation. They're like a very similar movie, and so I guess I approached like this inspiration of E.T. is like, I'm inspired by E.T. as this like weird art film, not as like the nostalgic thing from my childhood. And what I really love about E.T. is this like feeling that, and you see it also in My Neighbor Totoro, it's like the creature is really like this manifestation of the kid's unconscious, and it's like it's going on some very deep dream-like surreal level, and that's why it's working the way that it is.
When looking back, E.T. feels groundbreaking. You don't see an adult's face for most of the runtime.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Which is wild.
I know.
So, Finn, Stranger Things is incredible. Do you feel like you just graduated high school after this, year-long process?
Definitely, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, 100%. It was definitely a graduation, and it was tough. It was tough to leave, but it was I was very lucky to be a part of that show, obviously, and yeah.
Well, and I love how the Duffers kind of themed each season on the second season was very much like Aliens or T2,
Totally.
and then the last season was a slasher movie. What's kind of the vibe of this final season?
It's bonkers. I don't know. It's funny because I was having a conversation with them recently just about. They were talking about how like season 3 was their Raiders of the Lost Ark, and how they like really wanted to go like super camp with it and like kind of crazy, and 4 was sort of a bit more grounded and kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street. I guess 4 was sort of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I guess 5 is like, I honestly, like there's not a ton of comparisons. It's kind of all the seasons mashed into one almost. Like it's kind of taken all those, you know,
start getting into trouble.
basically. But yeah, it's all those sort of inspirations put all into one season.
Last question. I'm a massive fan of Idle Hands. What can you say about your Idle Hands?
Oh, yeah, I'm writing this film with my partner Billy, and there's film from 1999 that was sort of didn't get its flowers. I felt is kind of an underrated film, and I think it could be an interesting movie to revisit and, you know, bring to a newer audience. And so we've been writing that, and yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Congrats on the
Thank
film.
you.
Thanks so much.